It seems no matter what season of life we are in right now, we all have times where we are stressed and feeling overwhelmed, and oftentimes that can make it really hard to fall asleep at night. And then that of course compounds everything, because if you're extra stressed and then you can't sleep, that just adds on to a lot of problems. So when we're looking at our health, it's really important that we are focusing on ways to help manage our stress and also get really good sleep. So when things get really overwhelming or have kind of hit a high point for me, I do not want to take over-the-counter sleep aids, and I certainly don't want to take prescription sleep medications that oftentimes are addictive in nature and have a whole other slew of problems. Now, in the winter months, I do enjoy sipping on a hot cup of herbal tea right before bed, but in the summer or when we're traveling, or sometimes I'm just really busy and evening falls and I really just don't want to have to boil the kettle and then let the tea sit and steep so that it's nice and strong. And that is where using herbal capsules come in. And I had been purchasing some herbal capsules just because I didn't have a capsule maker, and it was one of those things that was easy to do. But the cost of them, especially if you're buying high quality capsules where you know that they are using good quality herbs, it can add up really quickly. So I am now making my own herbal capsules and thought I would share it with you. And the great part is you can use herbs that you are growing that's going to help cut down on cost even further. And sometimes you may choose to do a blend like I do, and I happen to be adding in one herb today that I'm not growing here yet on the homestead, and so I am purchasing that. However, both lemon balm and chamomile, which are two of the herbs that are going into this de-stress capsule and that I like to take at bedtime every day, these are ones that we're growing on the homestead and are very easy to grow. So first thing we need to do is get everything into powder form so that it's going to fit nicely and easily into the capsule. However, one caveat, when you are storing your own herbs or looking to purchase herbs, it's actually best if you store them in as close to their whole form as possible. So here you'll see I have got chamomile blossoms, and these have just simply been picked and dried. And so those are the whole blossom, and oh, they smell so good. They kind of smell like a little bit of like a minty apple to me. Chamomile always has like an appley scent. And that is another key. If you are purchasing your herbs somewhere or wondering if they still are potent, they should still have a vibrancy of color, and they should still smell and have that scent like they do when they are fresh. Now, it might not be quite as strong as when they are fresh, but it should still definitely smell that way. And right here I have got my lemon balm. So here's the lemon balm leaves, and you can see, of course, these are dry, so they're not quite as vibrantly green as when they're fresh, but these are still very green in color. And the reason that we've still kept these in almost whole leaf form is because you don't want to have all of the surface area exposed, which happens when they are chopped up and especially when they're ground into a powder, because that is releasing a lot of the medicinal properties early, and we want to keep those until right at the time of use. So either powdering them up like this to put in a capsule that then we'll be consuming within the next few months, if not days, or making your tea and or tincture. But for storage purposes, keep them in their whole format as long as possible. So for today, we need to go ahead and powder up our lemon balm and our chamomile. And I'm gonna do just a little bit more lemon balm than I am the chamomile. I find that lemon balm, for me personally, is a little bit more powerful of helping me to relax and unwind and go to sleep. Lemon balm has some great properties there than the chamomile, but they are both really good herbs. And so I'm gonna go ahead and use both of those. Now, one of the great things about when you're doing it in capsules is it doesn't really matter if they have good flavor or not. And both chamomile and lemon balm have excellent flavor. They are some of my favorite herbs. They make really good tea. But if you have an herb that doesn't taste very well, or someone who's sensitive to flavors, then doing them in capsule form instead of in a tea, because nobody really likes to drink a bitter or icky tasting tea, and not everybody is a fan of tinctures. So putting them in capsule form can be really great. we're gonna go ahead and you can use a blender, you could use a coffee grinder, you could use a mortar and pestle, but the goal here is to get these into as fine of powder as possible. Oh, that smells so good. I wish you guys could smell this. It smells so good right now, which is one of those key factors in knowing that these are fresh. Now, these are herbs that I grew and preserved myself. They are actually from last year's harvest though, but that is a key that they should still smell super fresh. Now, this is the other ingredient, and this is ashwagandha root powder. And this is one that I actually buy. So I will have a link below in the video description, including the blog post if you want to get this in printable format. But for the sources where I buy these herbs, if I'm not growing them myself, and root powder, ashwagandha specifically, is one of the ones that I buy. And the reason for that is, one, I'm not growing it yet. But secondly, if you are harvesting roots, make sure that you have them chopped as small as possible if it's something that you plan on grinding up or needing to be in ground format later before you dry that. And the reason for that is, unless you have a commercial grinder, once the roots are dried, they are really, really hard to get into any type of powder. Even with a food processor or a coffee grinder or something like that, you almost really need a commercial level if you want to get something in as fine of powder as we have here. So this is the capsule filler I have here is 100 capsules that we'll be filling. So I have a 1/4 cup of the ashwagandha root powder, which ashwagandha is an excellent herb. You can put it into food. It's a great adaptogen herb, so it helps the body adapt to stress. So when you have extra stressors, it helps your body be able to adapt and to recover from that. It's got some wonderful properties to it. It's a very safe herb, so one that is safe to be used on a daily basis. In fact, it works best if you are using it on a daily basis when you're using it for a stress relief. So now we're going to go ahead and add in our powdered up lemon balm and chamomile. And so we're right at a 1/2 cup. So this is volume wise or ratio wise. I've got 1/2 ashwagandha powder, and then we have about 1/4 lemon balm and 1/4 chamomile. And then we just need to get these stirred up so this is all nice and evenly distributed, so we have an even amount throughout our capsules. So now we have our contents all ready to go. Now we are going to get our capsulate ready to fill with our capsules. So this is a great, you can do 100 capsules at once, which is great. So I just take one to 2 capsules daily. So this will take me for about 1.5 to 2 months. And so it's kind of, if I'm feeling extra stressed, then I'll take 2 capsules. Otherwise I take 1. So anywhere from 2 to 3 months. So we've got our base here that we've got on here. And then this is the frame plate. And this is what we're going to put down as we're putting the bottom portion of our capsules in here. So these are 00 sized empty capsules. And we are just going to put them in, and I have almost all of these loaded, and it goes relatively quick. And so this is the larger portion, or the body portion, or the bottom portion, whichever terminology you choose to use, of the capsule. And now we're going to take our frame plate off, and then we're going to put on this part, and this is going to help us keep our powder from spilling all off the sides as we fill our capsules. And we've got our spreader, and so we're just going to evenly take that and spread this in. So now we're going to take our tamper, and these have what you can see where they go inside each of the capsules, and we're going to tamp down our plant matter into the capsule so that we can get even more in there. And now you can see like there's little divots and holes here. And there's a little bit more space. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna do that once more. And then do one more swipe through so we get those nice and full. So one final sweep here, getting every little last bit of goodness into our capsules. And then we're just gonna go ahead and take the excess here and scrape it into the bowl. And then I can just bag this up to save for the next batch, or maybe just I might end up just doing another round of these and doing 2 at once. So now we have our capping plate, and we're gonna go ahead and put the frame plate on top of that. Just makes it a little bit easier to load. And we're gonna put in the cap, which is the smaller, shorter portion, in here. Okay, so we got all of our tops in here. So we're gonna go ahead and remove the framing plate. And now this is our middle plate. You wanna make sure indentations are up. And we're going to put this on top of here, nice and even. And then we're gonna flip this upside down and put it where we've got our filled capsules. And you're gonna line everything up over the 4 little screws here so that all of our capsules are then lined up. And then you're gonna push down evenly. Okay, and now our big reveal. And then our middle plate here, and look at that. We now have 100 filled herbal capsules. And so you can just simply pop these little babies out. So these you can simply, still you want to store them out of full light, not in direct sunlight and away from heat. And so you can just simply put them into a mason jar just like this to put up in the cupboard. And you have got 100 capsules and the peace of mind of knowing exactly what is in these. Now, if you want to learn more about growing your own herbs and using them medicinally, you want to make sure that you get signed up for my free summer mini herb course. We'll have a link right below so that you can go and join that. And I'll be walking you through my top 10 favorite herbs throughout the course of the summer. And we'll wrap it up in September. And you'll also be on the wait list for when my herbal course launches September 27th.